advocating his approach, but I could see them. I was quite surprised that this guy could talk for 3 hours to a huge audience of about 3,000 or 4,000 people and non-stop. And even though he was about 85 years old, and they would all listen until like spellbound. I could see the faces of the people who were totally like spellbound. I get a picture that Elijah Muhammad probably could do the same thing. So these people do have a certain, I guess you'd call it charisma, would that be the right word? And their followers are overwhelmed by their persona. And then when they disappear from the scene, things seem to fall away. So it does depend on their personality a lot. And so we don't know anything about Elijah Muhammad, most people anymore, because he's disappeared. And only Malcolm X has basically left a legacy because of the sad events that centered around his life and the fact that he was more militant and he was more out there in the public scene. And we saw in the Spike Lee movie all the newsreels about him and so on. And I think the idea of conspiracy in the death of Malcolm X is a little, perhaps, overblown. I mean, there were certainly assassinations, we already spoke about it in the 60s, going on that were very ugly, and I'm sure a lot of people were. Done away with by surreptitious forces in this country of not a very honorable kind, and pretty ugly, let us say. But I think there would be enough competition within the movement that Malcolm came from to have certainly been a large part of whatever occurred there, because of his tendency to grab the headlines and take away the membership for his part of things. And we know the people who took over the movement after him were his opponents. I know this gentleman here probably doesn't agree with what I'm saying, but...
I object.
No, go ahead. Have your...
No, I think it's unfair to make that statement.
What did I say?
Well,
I said there was enough opposition within this movement.
There wasn't so much of a conspiracy.
Not so much as in other... I mean, there was enough people within the movement who had the axe to grind against him.
The same thing with Martin Luther King.
No, I don't. Well, I don't think people within Martin Luther King movement wanted to get rid of him.
There were people.
Okay,
I mean,
well,
the same thing last time we said about, oh, he switched to Islam, a more fundamentalist or more idealistic Islam for economic reasons.
Oh, you're simplifying everything I said.
I'm just saying that's what I heard.
You hear only the worst part of what you're thinking I'm saying. You don't hear the breadth of what I'm saying. There were economic factors, and I'd say just switched to Orthodox Islam because of economic factors. There certainly were economic factors that were a positive part of the switch. He benefited much more from going down the mainstream than he would have done just as head of a local cult. There's a lot of money coming out of the oil country. You don't think so?
I don't know if that's
You don't
a true statement.
Okay. I mean, Yasser Arafat, he didn't have huge bank accounts as a leader of the Palestine Liberation Movement. And you don't think that there was a lot of money pouring in from all kinds of sources in order to be this aggressive figure that he was willing to be?
I wouldn't compare the two.
No, I'm not comparing the two. I'm saying, don't you think that people of that kind, in terms of leaders of a movement, get a lot of support from a lot of money sources that they wouldn't otherwise have? Anyway, I don't want to argue personally with you, and I don't mean to hurt your feelings. You have your feeling. I'm trying to show that only by my comments that Elijah Muhammad isn't this horrible person that he's being made out to be, according to James Baldwin. And also, I'm trying to think, I don't think James Baldwin would have liked Malcolm X because of the aggressive militant style.